happening. It's happening. It's happening. I called it. I called it. I called it. I know I understand. Okay, I get it. I get it. People are sick of hearing me talk about the Nintendo Switch. I get it. You're sick of it.
Shut up about this.
Switch 2.
Shut up about this.
Switch 2.
But something I've always talked about is my deep love and belief that physical games are important. That game ownership is important. So when I see the reports where third-party publisher, well, one third-party publisher in particular that I guess is unnamed, I don't know why, they're so ashamed. They're so ashamed that their sales fell drastically lower than their predictions. It was lower than their lowest estimate. And that's great. That's great. And why is that great? It's not because I hate the Switch 2. Let me get that out there. As a console, I have absolutely no problem with the Switch 2, okay? An upgraded Switch is what I wanted. I wanted a more powerful system. I wanted the next generation of the Switch to come out. Now, is the console itself perfect? Is it exactly what I wanted? No, but I do like it for what it is. The things I don't like about the Switch are all the other baggage that comes along with it. $80 games, more focus on digital, and these stupid keycard things. Almost all of the third-party games that came out for the Switch, besides Cyberpunk, pretty much, like there's like 2 other games, the rest were key cards or code in a box. Now, there's a lot of blame to be throwing around here as to why so many publishers decided to go with the key card instead of just a cartridge, but you know what? I want to blame Nintendo for even giving them the option. Like, it's not completely Nintendo's fault, but the fact that they came up with this stupid key card cartridge thing, it was too tempting for these companies to not do it. And I think that's a big reason why we're seeing third-party sales so bad. Apparently, even though the Switch 2 has had one of the biggest launches of all time, if not the biggest launch of all time, it doesn't matter. The third-party sales are abysmal. And I think it's because people want to own their games. I think it's because people don't care about these stupid keycard things and they don't see them as a good value. They see, oh, they're charging me full price, but they're not giving me the entire value for my money here. I'm not really getting the game. I'm just getting the idea of the game. I'm getting something that lets me download it onto my system that I then also have to keep in the Switch, unlike a downloaded game, which I can just have a bunch on there. So people that want digital are not happy because they have to switch games. And I feel like the entire defense of people that like digital-only games and try to, for some reason, lobby for it, or like, oh, it's so convenient, you don't have to get up, you don't have to do anything. So that goes out the window with key cards. So that doesn't work for the digital crowd. And it doesn't work for the physical crowd either, because people like me want the game on the damn thing. Otherwise, it's just a digital game. And it's so stupid that they came up with this idea to begin with. I mean, it's code in a box is the dumbest. Like, it's by far the dumbest. Who is that for? Like, key cards are for basically nobody, but maybe somebody will find value because maybe you can resell them. I'm not quite sure of the resale market there. Maybe GameStop treats it just like a regular game, but the code in a box is just wasting plastic packaging at this point. Are you going to put the box on your wall and go, that's part of my collection? And then someone goes, oh, okay, well, can I borrow it? Oh, no, you can't borrow it because I have it digitally. Oh, okay. Then why do you have the box? Stupid. Now, I don't think that's the only reason. I would love for that to be the only reason, but it's not. Let's look at it realistically. Why is this happening? Why is the biggest launch having such a poor third-party attachment rate? That's what it's called when you sell a game with the system. It's attachment rate. Anyway, why is this happening? Why are we seeing this few third parties sold? And that's because of quite a few reasons, and a lot of them I said back in my previous video where I talked about how the Switch 2 launch was pretty terrible, and it's just because these games have been out. A lot of these games have already been out. for a long time. They're not new. They're very old, some of them. And anyone that wanted those games to begin with most likely has bought them already. So having them as a Switch 2 launch game is great for people that only had a Switch. But I have a feeling that most people had the Switch as their secondary system. And then the people that didn't have the Switch as their secondary system don't care too much about, graphically intense or third-party games like this because they just bought it for Nintendo games and that's all they want to play. They just want to play it for those Nintendo games and that's it. So you launch the Switch 2 and you relaunch all of these old games for full price, I might add. So you've got Yakuza 0, which I think I got for free at one point, or I got it for like $8 or like $4. It was so cheap. I got it for so cheap. Such a great game, but I got it for so cheap. I don't want to spend $50-$60 on it again. Like that's not happening. Hitman has also been on sale a bunch of times. So again, paying full price is crazy. Pretty much any third-party game that they launched on the Switch 2, they've been out for such a long time and they've hit that $20 price range. So trying to charge ultra Switch tax and just jack it back up to full price again, that ain't flying for most people because they know they've seen it at a lower price. And once you've seen something at a lower price, your brain, at least for most people, okay, maybe just for me, once I've seen it at that lower price, that is now the price in my head. That is the only price I'm willing to pay, or at least a price that is close to it. I'm not going to get anywhere near that full price ever again because I've seen it for this lower price. So with all those things combined, it's no wonder why the Switch 2 third-party attachment rate is so low and why the first party is so high. I mean, we're seeing numbers like 89% or something like that. Now, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild had like 100 and something percentage attachment rate, which is just insane, but that's because people were buying the game before they could even get the system, because the system was selling out everywhere. It was very difficult to find, and the game was starting to sell out, and they were also just trying to make sure that they had the games. When they finally got the Switch, they had both the things that we were really excited about. Whereas the Switch 2, I mean, most people, if you want Mario Kart World, you're going to get the Mario Kart World bundle. Otherwise, what are you doing? I guess you just want the physical edition, and you want to spend $30 extra. I don't know. I just can't bring myself to fathom spending $80 on Mario Kart World, or any game for that matter. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole again because I've said a lot about that when it comes to the Switch 2. But even if you're a Nintendo fan, I mean, I am a Nintendo fan. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Nintendo to fail. Do I want them to be humbled? Yes. But I don't want them to fail. But I do want some of these ideas to fail, because as soon as these ideas are popular, as soon as they see that they are profitable and they can get away with doing it, they will start doing it across the industry. Don't think otherwise, okay? Because we've seen this already. Anytime, any business in any sort of category has gotten away with making a profit on something that is detrimental to you but beneficial to them, they do it. It's so prevalent. Anytime they can get away with something, and they see that they continue to do it. And so I'm hoping that they look at this failure and blame it on key cards. They blame it on code in a box. And they reevaluate how they launch third-party games on the Switch 2 in the future. Because I want, at some point in the future, when the Switch 2 is no longer selling $80 games or all of the BS attached to it, I want the Switch 2 to be a success later, like the 3DS was. And when that happens, I don't want third-party games to just keep being key cards. Because then if I do get a Switch 2 later on, if they have actually gotten rid of that BS and added an OLED screen and improved the battery life, there's a couple of things I'm waiting for. I don't want to buy any third-party games for it because they're going to just be key cards. So I'm really hoping this continues to fail. Not because I want the Switch 2 to fail, not because I want Nintendo to fail, because I want this idea specifically to fail. So, this isn't... I know you're sick of me hating on the Switch 2. This is not me hating on the Switch 2 necessarily. This is me hating on that specific idea that came along with the Switch 2. Man, I don't think people understand how much I wanted the Switch 2 to be amazing. How excited I am for systems when they first come out. Because I love riding that wave of hype. I love it. I mean, that's why I got a Switch at launch, you know, which also had a terrible launch, by the way. There was absolutely nothing for that system when it first came out. I mean, my God, it was Breath of the Wild, and like I desperately bought, like, what was it, Cave Story? And I bought some other really crappy game that was published by GameStop. I was just so desperate to get games for it because the launch just was Breath of the Wild, and that was it. I mean, so many bad launches for systems. You'd think with all of this time they have before the system coming out, that all these other companies would be prepping them. I guess the Switch makes sense where the third-party support was so bad. The Wii U was a massive failure before that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Like the video if you guys liked it, subscribe for more content, and comment down below how you feel about key cards, code in a box, things like that. And if you plan on buying any of those in the future, I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, have a fantastic day. See you, everybody.